Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. On June the 22nd, 2005, POSCO signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Indian government to build a steel plant, a captive port and an iron ore mine in Odisha, India. It will be the largest single foreign investment in India if it happens. Since then, the Indian authorities have attempted to evict thousands of families from their homes, their fields and their forests to make way for the steel plant. The villagers have organised peaceful and non-violent protests. Local police have barricaded villages, occupied schools and levelled homes. Villagers have been beaten, harassed, intimidated and imprisoned. In May 2010, at the entrance of the POSCO steel plant site, police attacked fleeing protesters using tear gas, rubber bullets, batons, injuring 100 people, 5 of them seriously. In 2013, the United Nations independent experts asked the Indian government to halt construction of the plant until they could ensure adequate safeguards and guarantees to respect the rights of thousands of people. To quote the UN, POSCO also has a responsibility to respect human rights and the Republic of Korea, where POSCO is based, should also take measures to ensure that businesses based in its territory do not adversely affect human rights when operating abroad. POSCO is the same company we now have in the Southern Highlands, except they now call themselves Hume Coal. You've already heard or will hear a lot about water, jobs, land purchases and other things, but I'm going to talk briefly about the war on the ground in Southern Forest and how it's affecting the farmers. Last week, a spokesman from Hume Coal denied they were bullies. I'll let you be the judge. A number of you will know our dear neighbours, Cathy and John Roach. John is a retired GP and Cathy was a pharmacist in Mossvale for many years. Cathy will proudly tell you she's 79 and a half and John is 87. In 1989, they helped establish a magnificent cross-country eventing course on their property, Araluen. Many Olympians and Olympic hopefuls, along with pony clubs, local schools, including Oxley College, and riders from all over the state train and compete on Araluen. All money raised goes back to the Berrima horse trials to enable riders from all over the state to enjoy the sport of eventing. Cathy often comments on the joy of watching the kids compete. This year, John and Cathy won Volunteers of the Year award from the New South Wales Eventing Association. They were really chuffed. However, the future for this magnificent facility is now under threat from Hume Coal. Hume Coal are now forcing Cathy and John into land access arbitration. They want to drill 3 holes right in the middle of the eventing course. If Hume succeeds in its quest, they'll have to put in kilometres of access tracks. It will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to rehabilitate and will take Araluen off the eventing calendar for 2 to 3 years, maybe forever. John and Cathy are understandably anxious about their future. Cathy worries about where she'll find the money for the legal advice needed to proceed, and she feels as though there's a black dog on her shoulders. Last week she returned home from hospital after having a major operation for bowel cancer. Before she went into hospital, she was more concerned about John because, as she says, he forgets to feed himself. They are wonderful people and they do not deserve the stress and anxiety being inflicted upon them by Hume Coal. Cathy and John are not the only ones in this situation. Marg and Ross Alexander have been battling Hume coal for 2 years. Hume took the Alexanders to court to gain access to Carter's Lane, a lane which the Alexanders own. Unfortunately, the Mining Act is totally biased towards the miners. The Alexanders lost the court case, and the community had to raise $140,000 to cover their costs. While Ross and Marg were in court, they were served with land access papers to explore for coal on their farm. At one stage, Hume Coal wanted to drill 22 holes and they didn't have any approval. The arbitration process is long, it's complicated, and it's arduous. The Alexanders have had to write countless submissions. Over 200 documents have been generated between all parties. Marg and Ross have spent $80,000 in legal advice. They've had to prove to the arbitrator that their pastures have been improved, their fences are stock-proofed, their driveways are properly formed, and that they actually live in their own home. Hume Coal have done property searches and electoral investigations to make sure this is the case. Another neighbour of the Alexanders is also going through forced land access arbitration. Hume Coal have taken full advantage of the New South Wales mining law and have denied him legal representation. He's had to find a local landowner to appear as his agent and to support him through the bewildering, stressful arbitration process. He spent $80,000 so far in legal advice. I might add that Peter and I are next. Other landowners have started arbitration only to give in and allow access. Some have sold to the miners. This has caused them much distress as they feel they're letting everybody else down. As you can imagine, the unrelenting pressure from Hume Coal has taken its toll emotionally, physically, and financially on the landowners. The legal bullying and intimidation is relentless. It's a David versus Goliath battle, and Goliath has all the money and all the resources, and the government seems to be on the side of the mining companies. There are now deep divisions in our community. Neighbours who invited Hume Coal onto their land have been ostracised. Long-standing friendships have been destroyed. Landowners have had trouble selling their homes. For some, it's all the superannuation that they have. Many are facing an uncertain future, which leads to feelings of frustration, anger, and hopelessness. It's also compounded by the fact that there's no end in sight. None of this is helped by the lack of community consultation. In 4.5 years, Hume Coal have failed to tell us where the mine operation is going to be located, what type of mining they're going to use, and how they're going to protect one of the most productive aquifers in New South Wales. They've also failed to tell us what they're going to do with the 1,000 of acres that they now own. As you know, Hume Coal are sponsoring sporting clubs, schools, charities, and numerous local causes. They're even providing free Wi-Fi to Robertson. Last year, the Exeter Soccer Club sent a clear message to Hume Coal by handing back a cheque for $7,500. They didn't want their sponsorship. Landowners in the Sutton Forest area have also got a message for Hume Coal. Please stop referring to us as hobby farmers and absentee landlords. It's insulting. Some of the landowners' families have been in the district since 1835. The countryside is dotted with businesses, both large and small, cafes, cattle farms, wineries, horse breeding operations, berry farms, olive groves. The list is extensive. We're all very proud to be part of the Southern Highlands community. But don't think the landowners are just doing it for themselves. All of us have got a fierce determination to protect the Southern Highlands from destructive coal mining, and we're going to preserve it for our children and our future generations. On a positive note, We have a strong, vibrant, supportive community. Neighbours who've never met before are really good friends. We've got a wonderful group of volunteers that work tirelessly for us, and we've been helped enormously by the Southern Highlands community. We need it. The fight is far from over. If you're wondering how you can help, you can join our group. Just go onto our website. The details are at both gates. If you want to become a volunteer, we'd love you to join us. We always need donations to keep the fight going. And I'd just like to take the opportunity now to thank you very much. You don't know how much we appreciate it. At times, we feel very isolated, but it's really good to see all of you here. Thank you.